Don't play with it, don't be dishonest. Still not understanding.
What up? It's your girl Ayo, and welcome to Ayo's World, where you can find anything from beauty to comedy to advice. We're back at it again with another video. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Ayana, aka Ayo. I love everything nostalgia, cartoon, Disney, Nickelodeon. I love it all. So I think that is my niche here on YouTube and all across socials all over the place. If you like what you see here and you want to see more of me, you can go ahead and find me on Instagram and TikTok and here on YouTube, of course. If you love movie and nostalgia content, keep it locked and keep it here and come hang out with your girl. So if you like that, stay here. Before we get into the video today, I kind of want to give myself a little boost of confidence because I had my first almost viral video on Instagram. Yay! I was super excited because my posts on Instagram don't do as well as they do on TikTok. And actually, this time, the repost that I made on Instagram did better there than it did on TikTok. So I'm very confused about that, but I love it nonetheless. So I'm super excited for the new friends that I'm getting on Instagram. So we excited about that. Today's video, we are going to dive headfirst into all of this nostalgia that I've been feeling recently, because a lot of us have started to talk about how Disney takes stories and just, when I say downplay, I mean downplay. Now, I love Disney down. I really do. But some of the source material for Disney, okay? We have had these same fairy tales for years. And everybody wants to know why Disney is so, we gonna keep it real cute and say trauma-filled. Yeah, Disney, even though we love it and even though it's very kid-friendly and, very cute, and we all have that little warm, fuzzy feeling, including me, that little warm, fuzzy feeling from Disney because they make all of these relatable movies and things like that. Babes, the original stories that they take and retell are far less warm and fuzzy. Okay? Even the little stuff that they keep that we realize is so traumatizing, like almost every parent in Disney is a past tense, shall I say. Some parents in Disney straight up aren't there anymore. Yeah. We don't have good luck with parents in Disney at all. Okay. Little stuff like that is a very watered down version than you would get if you read the source material for certain movies. So we're going to go down the list and I'm going to tell you guys exactly what Disney left out when they told you the story. Okay? One of the first things we see in Disney, one of the first stories that you can tell that they altered quite a bit is Cinderella. They downplayed Cinderella so bad. If you are somebody that's just interested in like source material and books where they get their stories from and things like that, Cinderella, her father, actually one of my TikTok commenters brought this up. Her dad was alive the entire time the stepmom and the stepsister made her life a living HE double hockey sticks. Okay? I'm trying to cut back on cursing people, but yeah, they did that to her. Okay? Dad was alive. So that coupled with the fact of all the stuff that they did to Cinderella, when I say it irritates my soul, I mean irritation to the highest level. Okay? At the Disney version of Cinderella, because everybody thinks that her story is just so cut and dry that, she gets carried away by this prince and she lives happily ever after. No. No, not quite. Okay. To add to what they took out of Cinderella when they made it for Disney, they took out the fact that the stepsisters and the stepmom went to extreme lengths to steal Cinderella's happily ever after. And this is brought up if you've ever seen Into the Woods, which is a play where they merge together all of the fairy tale stories into one 3 day. I believe it's like over 3 days in the Enchanted Forest. They melt all of the stories together to tell one big story, right? So they took in Cinderella's character, they tell you that Cinderella's stepmother didn't just want to steal the shoe for her stepdaughters. She actually mutilated their feet to make it happen because the shoe didn't fit. Okay? Cut off a bit of the hill and the whip. Cut off a bit of the hill and it will was one of the lines in the song, meaning that she cut off part of her daughter's heel of her foot to fit the shoe, leaving you know what dripping down the shoe. Okay. She also takes a cleaver, like a butcher knife, to her other daughter's big toe and slices that off. Yeah, it gets real. After all of that happens, and that doesn't work, and Cinderella gets her happily ever after anyway. You know what happens after that? Cinderella's cute little birdies that she sung to when she was cleaning and going through it, they pecked out their eyeballs. Yeah. Like, legit pecked out their eyeballs and blinded them during the wedding ceremony. Like, they were outside the gate banging on it, like, oh, Cinderella, let us in. And the bird swooped down and was like, not today. So if ever you're like, I want a Cinderella moment, you might want to think twice. Just think, okay? The second story that Disney altered quite a bit is the story of the Little Mermaid. So we all love the inquisitive Ariel that just oozes curiosity and wants to learn any and everything under the sun. Whatever life has to teach her, she wants to learn. Okay? And she hates being this sheltered kid where dad just doesn't let her do anything. That's the kind of teenager she was. Okay? Now, her inquisitiveness gets her into quite a bit of trouble in Disney, but not as much trouble as in the original story. In the original story, Ariel does indeed make a deal with a sea witch, aka Ursula. If you can go up and get this man to say I love you, you're human, you're free, do what you want to do. But if you can't, you are stuck down here you're stuck in the ocean with me. Okay? That is the whole premise of the deal with Ursula in Disney, right? And they kept that. They kept that. They kept the deal that she made with the Sea Witch, but they altered it. Because in the original story, Ariel does not make it to convince Eric to say that he loves her. It doesn't happen. They do not go off and live happily ever after. Actually, Ariel kind of succumbs to her broken heart. Ursula wins the bet, and Ariel turns into sea foam. And she doesn't just turn into sea foam, she turns into sea foam in the most painful way possible. And actually, I'm going to put up a section of the story that you can see. I'm going to look it up, put a section of the story up here so you can see the description of her turning into sea foam, because it's gruesome. Okay? going into my third spot of darkness in Disney, I'm going to talk about Beauty and the Beast. I love that story. Oh my god, it's amazing. Belle is actually one of my favorite Disney princesses because she is one of the only Disney princesses that kind of stepped into this feminist era of women have a choice. Okay, she wasn't gonna sit here and deal with Gaston's BS. Okay, she wasn't the quintessential fall into a man's arms and oh my god, I need a man for this. I'm a damsel in distress. That wasn't her. Okay, she liked books. She would prefer to read and learn for herself than she would to just let a man take care of her or like fawn all over a man. And I was here for that. Okay? Belle is and will be that girl. Okay? But can we talk about how, I hate to say it, but Beauty and the Beast is definitely representation of Stockholm Syndrome. If you don't know what that is, here's the definition, babes. Okay? That is literally falling in love with your captor. Did Belle not do that? 1,000 times, yes, she did. Okay? This girl swaps her freedom for her dad's and lets her dad go free. And then says, all of a sudden, the man who kidnapped me is not so bad. I think he's actually quite nice. What? Like how did we think that was cute? I don't know. Will I still watch it? Yes. But do I still side eye and be like, I don't know how we thought that this was something to aspire to? Yes. Apparently, we lost all concept of consent, all right? All concept of consent. Apparently, we lost all of it. But that's neither here nor there, okay? That's just, it gave weird to me. Y'all let me know if I'm tripping. Aren't you supposed to, like, have a fling with somebody who's conscious and awake for the kiss or whatever else y'all are doing? Yeah. So Disney, tell me. I don't know. Maybe I'm just too modern for everybody. Okay? But yeah, it just gave me the ick just a little bit. But continuing on, the next story that kind of gives me just a little bit of pulse, a little bit of what I'll be doing here, Disney, is, and moving on to the next story that causes a little bit of concern, that kind of makes you side-eye Disney and you know, keeps with the theme of trauma being Disney's number one flavor. Why are we okay with Sleeping Beauty being kissed awake? Why are we okay with that? It's just a story, yes, but why are we okay with waking up to an unknown man's lips on hers? You know what makes this story even a little bit more concerning? If you read the original again, we forget that we forget that Sleeping Beauty was a teenager. I don't think she was more than 14. Yeah. I don't think she was more than 14 in her original story. Yeah. And apparently we lost all concept of consent, all right? All concept of consent. Apparently we lost all of it. But that's neither here nor there, okay? That's just, it gave weird to me. Y'all let me know if I'm tripping. Aren't you supposed to, like, have a fling with somebody who's conscious and awake for the kiss or whatever else y'all are doing? Yeah. So Disney, tell me. I don't know. Maybe maybe I'm just too modern for everybody. Okay? But yeah, it just gave me the ick just a little bit. But continuing on, and this is a newer movie, but another movie that gives me a little bit of pulse, a little bit of what are we doing here, Disney? Because of the trauma that just kind of we skate over because it's just such a heartwarming story. I talked about this on my socials once again. Big Hero 6, a newer movie, but keeps with the trend of let's traumatize the world's children. Okay? I felt so bad for Hero because he was the smart kid that, first of all, just going out here and doing what he wanted to do because he lost his parents. Okay? And all he had was his brother and his Aunt May. Really? Not Aunt May. What was the mom? What was the aunt's name in that? I'm gonna stick her up here and edit the name or stick the name up here because I can't think of her name and I called her Aunt May, but that was definitely Spider-Man. I think her name may have been Aunt Cass or something like that, but she was the aunt nonetheless. Okay. But he had her and he had his big brother. Really, his big brother was his influence because his big brother was everything that he wanted to be. Like he built robots. He just was into what is it, aeronautics? No, he was into robotics and engineering just like he was, but he went to school for it. And his brother kind of like took that same interest in it, but as soon as his parents died, decided to try and be a little delinquent and use what he knew how to do and how smart he was in the wrong way and like do bot fights. He already had enough going on. And then you let us watch. Like, we synced it. It's right there. You let us watch his brother, one of the only influences he has, one of the reasons that he was like, let me get my crap together, dive into a fire and just cease to exist. Why would you do that to me? Why would you do that to my soul? I can't stand you for that, even though I love you, Disney, at the same time. I want the smoke for that. Okay? I thought I was okay with Mufasa. All right? I thought I had finally gotten over Mufasa and then y'all did that. What's wrong with y'all? But anyway, they did that to him. Okay? They did that. But not only did that happen in Big Hero 6, we didn't talk about the after trauma, realizing that his hero, his idol, for lack of a better word, in his interest in robotics was the one who hurt his brother. I don't know if I can say the actual word, but he was the one who, his brother. And then to find out that he not only, the brother, he did it for no reason because his daughter was alive, but they couldn't figure out how to get to her. So instead of him working with them to fix the mistake that, yes, he had every right to be traumatized. Yes, they did mess up his life by taking his daughter because they didn't listen to his advice the first time. You actually made his brother past tense for a daughter that is alive and well. You just couldn't get to her. And to make matters worse, you can't even be with your daughter at the end of it because you got arrested. How'd that work out for you, sir? Come to think of it, this conversation that we're having right now had me think about, have y'all ever seen that I'm mad at Disney trend where they literally either they tell the real story of the fairy tale, or they come up with the horror version of the fairy tale that Disney made up. Okay, when I say I love and hate the trend at the same time, because man, are some people coming up with some good scenarios that would like send me into a headspace. If I like, when I say they're coming up with some amazing scenarios that would be perfect for a story, I mean A1. But I'm already traumatized enough. Okay? I think I am. So you take the stories that Disney made up, that specifically they made up for Disney, and you make them worse. No, please don't do that to me. Please don't do that to me. They're already traumatizing enough. Okay? Let's not do that. Let's not do that. Okay? I think one of them, I think they changed the Little Mermaid to Ariel, like, being by pollution. And they did another one where I think Rapunzel got by her hair, something. But there were some really good scenarios that would make some pretty decent horror versions of these stories. So if y'all want to check that out, if you're like a special kind of Disney fan that loves horror and loves Disney at the same time, you might want to look at that trend, because the mesh is meshing. If you want to see that, go ahead and go look it up. I'm mad at Disney on TikTok. With that being said, let's close out this video for today. You guys can go ahead and drop in the comments some of your favorite Disney facts, some of the things that are not so child friendly, but somehow they made it child friendly for us Disney fans. If you want to drop that in the comments, if you want to drop some of your favorite fairy tales, some of your favorite secret facts of the original stories that we tell, or some of the original stories that are fairy tales, if you want to tell us like the juicy, gory version of it, go ahead and drop that down in the comments. Your girl is here every Sunday. And if you are new here and you stayed through this whole video, thank you so much. And I appreciate you. If you would like to see the shorter versions of my videos, you can go ahead and, like I said, hit up Instagram and TikTok for me. Give me a like, give me a follow, give me a comment. Your girl likes to chit chat. Ask anybody. I do my best to comment and get into the conversation with you guys. I don't like to talk to myself, so go ahead and drop a comment. I will get to you as fast as I can. And I love you guys, and I hope you guys have an amazing start to your week. I hope this video, kind of gave you the little boost you needed to go back to work tomorrow, because it is a Monday, girl. Me, I gotta go back to work tomorrow too. And not only do I have to go back to work tomorrow, this was a week that I actually worked extra this week, because at my job there was a graduation, a pre-K graduation. Not only was there a pre-K graduation at my job, I babysat this weekend. Okay, but baby, I had to get that coin. But am I tired? Yes. And I also went out with my coworkers this weekend and had a fabulous time. I love little small gatherings where you can just sit and talk with your friends and it not be that big of a deal. I'd rather do like a go sit at a table and get drinks with like 3 to 4 friends than I would go to a crowded club, yell, try to talk over the music and do all that extra. So I had a really good time this weekend, but I'm also dog tired, and it took everything in me to get this video done for you guys. Okay? It also took everything in me to tinker with this mic and get it working. So I hope that y'all do this video justice. I hope this video does y'all justice. And y'all go ahead and y'all let your girl know how much you love it. Or tell me what I can fix. I don't mind either way. But go ahead and leave your thoughts in the comments. We are a fairy tale Disney nostalgia loving community here. So go ahead and tell me what you think down in the comments. Love you. Bye.
Baby girl, you are so pretty, 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 pretty. Baby girl, you are so pretty, pretty.